That is why I completely regret getting my breasts done. It's been 2 years since I've gotten my breast implants and things have not exactly gone as planned. I've been meaning to make this video for a really long time. I could never get myself to do it. I didn't know how I wanted to orient this and how to really present myself, so I don't really have a clear plan, but I'm going to try to go off my bullet list here because there's some things you guys really need to know, especially if you're considering getting a boob job in the future. Just a quick blast from the past. I got my boobs done in Miami a little over 2 years ago, and I paid around $3,800. I had spent 2 years prior to this researching doctors and trying to figure out if I really wanted to do this or if it was a vanity metric. Now, obviously you can go back and watch my whole vlog and whole spiel, watch how that all played out. I was so excited to get them. I never cared about having a chest growing up. I've always been a double A, basically a piece of cardboard. And I finally got to the point in my life in my 20s where I just felt so unfeminine. I felt so ugly, not exactly manly. I just felt like, I don't know, just really, really ugly. And I wanted some of that. I wanted some curve. I wanted some shape to my body. And I didn't want to go really, really big. There's obviously people out there like Heidi from, if you guys ever watched Laguna Beach. I didn't want anything that was gonna be overly noticeable. I didn't even tell anybody I was getting it done other than my boyfriend and my dad, because not that I was ashamed or felt like I had any kind of guilt involved. I just didn't care for people's comments and judgments. There's some people that can be really harsh, and to be honest, it wasn't anybody else's business. It was mine and my body's. Thankfully, my boyfriend was never like, oh, I want you to get them done or I don't. He was like, whatever's gonna make you feel better. And they did make me feel better. Like, I was over the moon with them. Initially, I thought they were way, way, way too big. I thought I cautioned more on the smaller side. If you guys have implants, do let me know because I'm curious about what your experience has been. But with all the doctors I went to and all the surgeons, they all told me, you want to go bigger than you think you're going to want to go. And I was not on that. I was like, I'm a runner. I like exercising. I definitely do not want to go bigger than I need to because it's going to impact my running. I just didn't want to look like a blow up doll. I didn't want it to be obvious. My body has changed and I'll get to that. But anything bigger than that was going to look really obnoxious on me. What they'll typically do at a surgeon's office, not all the time, but they'll usually have silicones. You can actually place them on your chest and see how, they're going to look on you. And every time they gave me one, I had one lady in town tell me to get 500 cc's, and this was a female doctor. I was like, no effing way am I get 500 cc's. I don't know what that would make me. Probably like a double DG, and there's just no way. I really wanted to go under the radar. I wanted something natural. I wanted something that people weren't really going to know. They maybe just thought I was wearing a push-up bra. I ended up getting 315 cc's of the silicone and gummy bear implant. You'll know this if you watched the previous video, or maybe I didn't talk about it. I don't quite remember, it was a while ago, but my recovery was so easy. But because I was so inflamed and swollen, I thought, oh my God, I went too big. I went too big. But then once I realized after about a year, when the swelling truly all went away, kind of, because I'll get to that later, I wish I would have gone bigger. If I were to do it again, I probably would have gone more to the 400 cc range, so I would be more of a full CD, just because I like how it gives me more shape. As of right now, I'm a 34B, 32C, but the implants didn't exactly look the way I thought they would. I'm gonna show some photos up here. My implants started looking really wonky. Now, I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to post-surgery. A lot of them say, don't go to the gym, don't lift things up, don't pull heavy weights. I didn't do that as much as I wanted to. Like, believe me, if you're a runner, you probably know this, but I was dying to get back to the gym, but I didn't want to F it all up, so I did everything I was supposed to. But I always had this one breast that was just higher than the other. They were never twins. They were like distant cousins, which I didn't quite understand. The other thing I was really cautious about when I did get my implants is I said, I do not want these things right next up to each other. If you see photos like this, to me that looks really unnatural, and that is not what I wanted for myself. They will basically scan your body and look at your anatomy to figure out what is the best placement of your boobs based on your nipples and breast tissue and your rib cage and all of that. Naturally, I was gonna have more separated boobs, meaning that I was gonna have more space in between. But I did tell him I didn't want them, you know, basically smacked together because that wasn't gonna look natural at all. Almost felt like mine were too separated. There is nothing I can do to push my boobs together. I have no cleavage. That's kind of the part that is so beautiful about boobs, is you can have cleavage, and I didn't have that. It doesn't matter how much I push my boobs together, it doesn't exist. And I think that in a way also looks more fake. So I just almost felt ashamed of wearing tank tops, or I felt like, you know, I also couldn't wear cute corsets or anything in the summer because my boobs just wouldn't go, they wouldn't move. And that's one misconception that I think a lot of people do have, is that your boobs are just gonna look amazing. I know there's people out there, and I have gotten quoted in the past from breast surgeons that were upwards to $50,000 for a breast augmentation. I was not going to spend my hard-earned cash. Really glad I didn't, because of later issues that I'm now gonna have to fix and deal with. That was just insane to me. So maybe if I had done that, like gone to a place in New York or a celebrity doctor in LA, then I wouldn't have had those issues. But I also think at the end of the day, your anatomy is your anatomy, and if you have a skilled surgeon, they're going to do what they think is going to fit your body. I was really fortunate that mine did that. It's just because you have an implant, it's a solid substance, versus breast tissue, you can kind of squeeze and you can mold and you can push it together to get that cleavage. That's what a natural breast does. Implant cannot do that. You only have so much wiggle room. And I never quite thought about that before getting surgery. I was just like, I want boobs, I don't really care. I'm gonna be really picky about the size and everything else. It just never crossed my mind. And so for those of you that are looking to get surgery, please keep that in mind. And if you have a doctor that is going to be honest with you, know what you're gonna get at the end of the day. One thing that can overstep this that I could have done if I were to get replacements, I could do, is obviously go bigger, because if you go bigger, you're gonna have less of a gap in between your breasts. One thing I did like immediately after getting my implants was that I could wear clothes that I could never wear before. It made me feel a lot more confident, aside from the whole mismatched boob scenario going on. Like, I could wear these cute corsets, and I remember this one time I was wearing this beautiful, like, bedazzled brocade top that I bought from Zara when I was in London, and yeah, I was confident, but like, I'm also thinking in my head, are people staring at me because one boob is like up here and it's not looking too natural? Like, it almost looks like I just took silicone implants themselves and like pasted them on me, which is a thing, but that's obviously what I didn't do. When you get implants, this depends a little bit on the size and the kind you get. I did get the silicone, so these ideally, or supposedly, are supposed to look less like a grapefruit on your body and have more of a rounded edge. So think of it like this. I'm just gonna take this pillow, for example. If I wanted to scrunch it up and push it into a ball, I could do that. There's a lot of movement here, there's a lot of give and take. However, if I had this pillow, and let's say we'll use the grapefruit for example. I put the grapefruit on top. The grapefruit is not gonna move too much. I can't mold it, I can't push it down. And so when you think of silicone or you think of breast implants, you have to realize that this is an object in your body. It's on your breast. It's not malleable, it's not fat. It is made of a bunch of other substances. And so depending on your anatomy and everything else, you're not always going to get that desired look that you want. This is obviously why so many celebrities, Megan Fox, Kylie Jenner, routinely change out their implants, because they're simply not happy with them. Now, obviously, if you're a celebrity, you can afford to do that. But for the rest of us, you typically have to wait that 10-year period before you're actually supposed to get new implants. And this was also something I didn't know. I had no idea you had to replace them every 10 years. I mean, I thought they were just in you for life. And so that changed my perception on some things, like, okay, what do I do next time? And what happens a lot is that people have their implants and then, let's say it's 8, 12 years later, they have their implant revision or they get new implants. They're almost always told to go bigger. Now, this isn't necessarily because they want to. It's because their doctor says, hey, you're gonna have kids, you're gonna have saggy boobs afterwards, you're gonna wanna go bigger for insurance purposes. I think people are pretty in tune with their chest to know what size they want, but a lot of people do this and then they end up regretting it, or they have further complications, including rupturing and other problems I'm going to mention. Another thing that perplexed me and never really went away, but it doesn't bother me too much, but I wanted to bring it to the forefront because some of this will bother you. I'm gonna try not to get too intimate here, but it may be hard not to. So this boob has pretty normal sensation, and while it can move a little bit, if I touch the nipple part, it has a slight ache to it. It was not the case for my boobs before I had surgery. On this side though, if I touch it within maybe an inch of my nipple, there's no sensation, but there's also this severe numbing. And when I touch it, it feels like little knives pushing into my nipple. And so I'm just gonna let you roll with your imagination here. But depending on what you're doing, you're just touching it in general, or you're putting a bra on, every time I brush against this, it really hurts. And it's not a 10 out of 10 pain, but it is incredibly uncomfortable. Now, some people have it with both sides of their breast. This is something you guys should be aware of because it can be really distressing if you have, let's just say, piercings there, or you're doing common things like cooking in the kitchen. If you bump into it, that can also cause a really sharp pain. So it's just this weird, mysterious pain, no pain, super sharp pain that was never something I thought about pre-surgery. Outside of them looking a little wonky, outside of them not really having sensation, outside of them being on the smaller side than I would have preferred, there's a more detrimental issue that is why I completely regret getting my breasts done. I think everything in life is a learning experience, and so don't take what I'm about to say as I would not advise you guys to get implants if you really want them to. For me personally, I just think this was a really, really hard lesson I've had to learn. And what I'm about to say, and I've been sharing a little bit on my Instagram stories, is just something that I don't want to cry in this video. I'm not much of a crier, but it just has shed a lot of light on me into how many people are really, really suffering out there and don't know what's wrong with them. And them, like me, have spent tens of thousands of dollars going door to door to doctors' offices only to be told this is normal because you're female, you're approaching your 30s. But that doesn't even make sense because what I'm about to tell you doesn't align with where I'm at in life. And I say this because a lot of people are either thinking about getting implants, have them, and have no idea what the heck's going on, or you think it's strictly a vanity thing, which if you've listened to the past, I don't know how many minutes, you've realized that kind of the vanity isn't really full vanity. They look great on Instagram models, they look great on celebrities, but you're not always getting exactly what you want, which is why people get revisions. And it's why people, even if they get other kinds of plastic surgery, are never truly happy with themselves. And the reason I regret getting them is because I have been so sick the past 2 years, having no idea what the heck is wrong with me. I have had really dark thoughts. Just gonna keep that vague. I've been really, really suffering with my body image because of unexpected weight gain, chronic inflammation, seasonal allergies, food allergies that popped out of nowhere, severe aches and pains. I've had mono for the past 2 years. That's not normal. I've been told I have autism. I've been told I have diabetes. I've been told I'm menopausal, even though it's not physically possible for me to be menopausal at my age. I've been told I have dementia. I'm just gonna stop there because I will be making a separate video about this, but it wasn't until the last month or so that I found out about breast implant illness, and everything started making a lot of sense. I had no idea that my implants were causing me utter destruction. I blamed my body every day. Every day I would wake up cursing at it, hating it, having the worst thoughts because I cannot do basic human activities. I have such a hard time caring for my dog. I have such a hard time carrying groceries in from the car. I walk up the stairs and I feel like I'm dying because my heart palpitations are out of control. Kept it all a secret because I don't want people's pity. I don't need people's sympathy. I don't want to sound like a victim. And I never wanted to share something that I didn't know what the root cause was. As of now, I've been interviewing a lot of different surgeons. Unfortunately, there's not many surgeons out there that do explants, and there's not many surgeons out there that do the correct kind of explant. And I will go into this in the next video because it's going to be a lot more in depth about it. But yes, I regret my implants. However, I don't regret the learning lessons I've gotten along with this. And I think, whether you're spiritual or not, I'm just going to say I think God challenges us with a lot of things. And for so long, I didn't think I was going to handle this. I didn't see a way out and I didn't want to go on. I just feel the need to share what's going on because I know there's thousands upon thousands of people out there that have similar issues, are being told it's because they're female. They have food issues that they've never had before. They suddenly have ADHD and panic attacks and depression that they never presented before. You're not crazy if you have implants and you're dealing with these things. You have your implants, but then it's an effect of all these other problems. I have autoimmune issues that I've had to tackle. I have hormone imbalances that I've had to tackle. My ADHD, my panic attacks, my depression. I've had all these different things that I've had to fight for and treat, and nothing worked. If you have any similar symptoms to these, feel free to drop a comment, whether you have implants or not. I am not a doctor, but I can certainly help you in some way or another because I have had to deal with all these individual issues themselves, and I've learned way more than I needed to know along the way. Guys, it's not a joke, and not everybody gets breast implant illness, but the rate at which people are getting surgery, and now the ages people are getting surgery in their teens, which is just baffling to me. You have these toxic bags in your body. What's your body going to do? I never thought about this before, but I learned about it on a Facebook group that I will link below that has been so incredibly helpful for me. It's full of so many loving people and so many people who are dealing with the same stuff and have amazing stories you guys ought to read. But when you think of it, your body has a foreign substance in it. So what's it going to do? It's going to attack it. And it might not attack it right away, but it's going to attack it at some point. For me, it came on pretty early. For others, it can take 10 years, 20 years, 8 years. Everyone's so different. At the end of the day, your body's trying to get rid of this toxic foreign object in your body. And when it can't do that, it's going to be sending SOS signals throughout your body and creating havoc. Didn't put those together until just recently. As of right now, I have a surgery date scheduled, but because my symptoms have progressively been getting worse over the past couple months, I'm trying to see if I can get in with someone else sooner. Wanted to share my experience, and I'm not trying to scare anyone at all. If I didn't have the issues I have now, I would be keeping my implants in, quite honestly. I'm really nervous to not have them, but I don't want to keep living like a 90-year-old every day. I think breasts are beautiful, and I know it's going to be a struggle when I don't have them. Looking at other options right now, this isn't meant to scare anybody. I just think you should know what you're getting into, that it's a potential chance, because for me at the time, all I cared about was getting my boobs. If someone had told me this is a possible risk, I still would have gone through with it. No questions asked. I would have just ignored them, gone on with my life, got my implants, and if I didn't have the issues now, I would probably be looking at getting a bigger set. Now, I'm actually fortunate in a way that I learned about this and I know what's going on. I don't know if it encourages you, inspires you, or makes you feel questionable. I'm not sure. I don't know what my intentions were exactly, other than just sharing my personal experience, because it's been awful, guys. It's literally been so horrible. Just create a little bit of a community of people that are maybe going through the same thing or questioning it As always, if you guys have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram or message me here in the comments, because unfortunately there's a lot of plastic surgeons out here that deny it and do not think it's a real illness, which is why they don't perform surgery. If you have the littlest seed of doubt in your mind, run with it, because you're not crazy. Even if you don't have implants and you have crazy symptoms that are going off, you have to be an advocate for yourself. Do not think of yourself as selfish. Do not think of yourself as a victim, or do not think of yourself as a whiny individual. You're not. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to live a life that you're meant to be. And if you do have implants, do not let the implants rob you of that. Anyway, I don't want to go on too far with this. Stay tuned for the next video. I will be going more into my explant journey, as well as talking about breast implant further, my symptoms, and a more vulnerable and personal take on what it's been for me. We'll be conducting more Q&As and throwing some information up on Instagram, so feel free to see it there. I've also created a highlight just so people can use that as a source if they've got some questions or curiosity. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye.